This episode is sponsored by KewbzUK. More about them in a bit.
Hey.
Welcome back to the Cubing Couch. Unfortunately, it's an audio-only episode today because we're not feeling 100%, are we?
No, we're not.
No, the deep voice.
Like, no.
So this podcast is going to be 100 cubing video ideas. The title is not clickbait. That is the genuine title. We are going to give away 100 cubing video ideas. We're also going to be giving away 5 techniques to come up with infinite cubing video ideas. So stay tuned. Not only that, but we're going to be attempting to do 100 cubing podcasts in 100 weeks. So hopefully you can follow us along on the journey. Hit subscribe, hit follow, wherever you are. And let's get started.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get right into it. So, Zen, how are ideas actually formed?
So I think, I'm no scientist, but I think ideas are formed when you make connections between two or more things. So if I saw something new and I connect it with something I already know, that's an idea. It's like connections, I guess. So in order to come up with ideas, you always need to introduce yourself to new things. Otherwise, you can't come up with new things without being introduced to new things. So let's go through 5 techniques to come up with video ideas. These are approved. These are techniques I've used before, other YouTubers have used before. Technique number 1, the 15-minute brain dump.
Yeah, I remember when you always used to tell me to do this, and I used to be like, ugh. But I feel like once you get into getting a nice schedule of just 15 minutes every day, brain dumping random ideas, even if they're bad, like you still write them down or maybe alter them afterwards. But getting into that habit of just chunking out ideas.
So what's the process?
It's basically what it sounds like. So like a brain dump, you just like write as many stuff as you can think of in 15 minutes and then try to make ideas out of that.
That makes sense. It's a process I've used for a very long time and it always works, like no matter what. You need to have something on the side, like a YouTube tab on the side whilst you're doing it, just so you can like feed in information and then use that for the brain dump. But that's what I call the 15-minute brain dump. It's the idea everyone uses. It's the most basic.
How frequently would you suggest that someone does this?
I would say at least once a day, consistently. I think ideas are like building a muscle, like I said with Cubed Encoded. Ideas are like a muscle, so the more you do it, the better you get. So I've been doing it for a long time and I've just slowly got better at it. I wasn't very good at the start, but I'd like to say that I've got good at it. Save it and then decide afterwards. That's technique number 1. Okay, I'll talk you through technique number 2. So it's another very easy one. Just put a spin on existing videos, a cubing spin. So you go through the trending tab or go through any YouTube feed and replace any word with cubing and just make that into a video. So shall we go on the trending tab now and have a look?
There's no trending.
So I have my YouTube feed up in front of me. I'm just going to say the ideas, but just replace words with cubing. So for example, Anthony Padilla, I spent a day with Satnap. You could just replace that with I spent a day with Cubehead, or I spent a day with Cubed Encoded, which we actually did.
Or even just like I spent a day with maybe a cube.
With the GAN 11 or GAN
like
13.
a day in the life of like this cube.
True. Another random example, I don't know how this got me on my feed, but how I won first place in a Kenny Beats battle. I don't know what that is, but okay. So it could be something like how I won first place in a cubing competition, how I won first place in 3x3, how I won first place in... So all you have to do is just replace a word with a cubing term, and that's a video. Like, it's not even copyright, it's not unethical. That's how ideas are literally formed. People just change words.
So moving on to technique 3. Just reading community posts and comments of other channels' videos and making video ideas out of that. So I think the idea of that is that you look at the commonly asked questions that people are asking in community posts and comments and try to answer those questions in a video. So say, I can't think of an example right now, but just scrolling to a community post.
I would say something like, let's say J-Perm did an unboxing of the GAN 13, for example. People will be constantly asking, like, how does this compare to the GAN 12? How does this compare to the Tornado V3? Things like that no one has done a comparison for. Or maybe something like, how did you get sponsored? Or like, how long does it take to get sub 10? Questions like that. And in order to find those, what I do is I scroll all the way down through all the YouTube comments so they all load up. Use Control F if you're on PC and search things like how, why, when, where, who, and the question mark symbol, and see where the questions are and just go straight to those and note down what people are asking. If you can answer people's questions, then you're getting closer to the audience basically. You know what they want and you're just giving them what they want.
Makes sense.
So that's technique number 3, just community posts and comments. And it's super easy. It's like people are doing the work for you basically. Technique number 4, I refer to as the Mr. Beast strategy.
Sounds fancy.
So this is a strategy that Mr. Beast has publicly said he's used in the past. So this is a technique I've also used as well, and it's basically to use the art of a randomness. So there's random image generators, random word generators, random phrase generators, dictionary, and all you have to do is get something random and use that to form an idea. So for example, a random picture generator might give you a person with a football kicking the ball, and you might come up with the idea from that of like, how many keepy uppies can I do while solving a Rubik's Cube? Let's say it's someone on a bike going downhill.
He's managed to find a picture of you on a bike.
So it's someone on a bike going downhill, and you're thinking, how many 3x3s can I solve whilst going downhill on a bike? I don't know, something like that. Like the random image gives you something to think about whilst coming up with ideas. So there's a random image generator. For example, a random word generator might give you the word cake, and you might come up with the idea, I made a Rubik's Cube cake. Things like that. Like the dictionary also basically acts as a random word generator. Yeah. And apparently a story that Cuban Encoded said he did was that he found the word ketchup in a dictionary, and then he tried the video, can I lubing a cube with ketchup? And that was his video. So he used the dictionary technique too. That is the Mr. Beast strategy I refer to it as technique number 4. What about technique number 5, Mo?
So technique number 5, this is my favourite technique because I know how to do this one.
Okay.
You basically put a keyword into Google.
Yeah.
So like Rubik's Cube or GAN Cube or whatever, something linked to cubing. And you know those mini Google questions that you get?
Yeah.
You click the drop downs, and it's funny because as you keep pressing drop downs, you get more questions.
Yeah.
And then just literally make a video idea out of a question.
And the questions are like AI generated. They're generated by Google. So I typed in something vague like 3x3 records. Google will then generate stuff like, how old is Max Park? When did Max Park go to his competition? How many 3x3 records have there been? And they just keep generating, and the more you click on them, it's infinite. I've tried it. It just keeps going on forever. So that's the Google technique. Google just feeds you questions, and then based off that, you might come up with your own idea, or Google might come up with the idea for you.
That's smart.
It's an idea I came up with very recently, actually. I haven't used that one before. But hopefully it helps. That was 5 techniques to come up with infinite cubing video ideas. Before we go further, quick message from our sponsor, KewbzUK.
This video is sponsored by KewbzUK. If you're in Europe and are looking to buy the latest cubes, I would highly recommend KewbzUK. They store everything from WCA to non-WCA, cube mats, timers, and spare parts.
They're the only cube store in the UK with both the Cubicle and Speedcube Shop lubes. Shipping is fast, and to help the planet, they're using completely renewable packaging. Be sure to use code CRITIC5 for 5% off your entire order. Thanks again, KewbzUK, for sponsoring this episode. Okay, let's get into the 100 cubing video ideas now with number 1.
This is a big list.
It's a massive list. It's all 100. Like, it's not bait. It's not clickbait or anything like that. Okay, so section number 1 is cube unboxings. So we've got 7 video ideas for this one. So what do you think about cube unboxings in general first?
I feel like cube unboxings have started to dip.
Right.
But I feel like they're still like, people still watch them, but they're not like as greatly praised as some other types of more like entertainment content.
True.
Like, for example, Cube for Speed, he does these like these entertainment one, the Cube is sus, that kind of content, and he also does unboxings on the side, but they don't get as many views.
Yeah, and his unboxings have always been on his side channel. Like,
yeah,
he's actually put the unboxings on the side channel now, and I think in general, like, unboxings are so hard to innovate that people are just getting bored of them.
Yeah.
So people are shifting to cubing entertainment, like you said, with Cube for Speed and Cubics and all those. The first idea is obviously just a generic unboxing. Whenever you get a cube, just open it up and try out. But then another interesting one, which I don't see many people do, is unbox a cube in a unique environment.
I've seen that a couple of times, but not recently.
Like, I think a video that Tingman versus TNL used to do is they used to battle to see who can unbox a cube in the most, like, strange environment. That really popped off. Like, people went back and forth on their channels to see who can take it further. Tingman unboxed in, like, a pantry. TNL unboxed in the wild. You know, like, the environment adds to the feel of the unboxing. Makes it more interesting, basically. Another thing you could do is unbox a cube from a new event that you've never done before. And that gives people the noob's perspective. A lot of people who watch unboxings don't watch stuff that they buy. So if you're unboxing a Skube, chances are people probably don't even have a Skube yet. So you're giving them the noob's perspective that they'll probably also have when trying out the cube.
Yeah, I think an example of that, I think JPerm does a lot of content on like trying to solve this cube with no help.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes through like the noob experience, trying to solve it, trying to get quick. And that's what people want to see, especially when trying to buy a new puzzle.
Like, part of it is like viewers still want to see the expert level turning and finger tricks and whatever because it looks really satisfying. But there's also that noob aspect that people don't really cover.
Yeah.
That if they were to have the cube in front of them right now, that's how it would look. Unboxing the same cube as someone else and then battling them. So let's say there's multiple versions of a cube. So let's say GAN12, UV, matte. You get someone else to unbox the UV and you unbox the matte. That way you don't have to buy both. You got a collab as well. And then you both battle each other to compare them. So it's basically an unboxing, a comparison, and a challenge.
Yeah.
And a collaboration in one video. And I don't think anyone's done that yet.
No, I feel like I've seen that a couple of times. I think CAD the Cuber
Oh, yeah.
and MC Stuffs, I think it was, that did something like that. But yeah, the idea of that, as great as it seems, it isn't actually done that much.
So for number 5, getting non-cubers to try the cube. So this is an extension on the whole noob's perspective, but the person isn't a cuber at all. So I've seen a lot of like entertainment videos where they get non-cubers to like open up and try a cube.
Yeah.
And it's quite entertaining to see how someone without any cubing experience would assess a cube. So it's basically just an entertainment unboxing. You still get to see the accessories and all the aspects of the product, but you also get like the entertainment of a noob trying out the cube.
And then there's also this like silent ASMR style of unboxing.
This is one that Cubehead jumped on quite recently. He did a silent GAN 13 unboxing.
Yeah, I think that was what it was.
And I've actually seen a lot of people, like if you type in ASMR unboxing in YouTube, you actually get quite a few results.
That makes sense. And then you can kind of pair that up with like setting up the cube with like ASMR, because people like that kind of stuff. You see it with keyboards a lot. I don't know if you know that, but like people set up keyboards and that kind of stuff, and I feel like that idea translates to cubing very well.
It does. So ASMR boomed in like probably 2017.
Boomed.
It like proper boomed, exploded. Everyone was doing these creepy like whispering next to the mic kind of videos, but ASMR and cubing, because everything's quite tactile, like the cube makes a lot of different sounds, it's quite satisfying. And then another thing people don't do is they don't combine unboxings with a different niche in YouTube. So an example is combining unboxings with challenges. So things like world's fastest cube unboxing, world's most expensive cube unboxing, world's cheapest cube unboxing. Adding world at the start, giving it a sense of scale.
Yeah.
It makes the unboxing special as opposed to just any other GAN 15 unboxing. Okay, so let's move on to cube reviews. There's not many in this category. It is fairly dull, this one.
So, I'll start off. Idea number 8, continuing from the cube unboxings. Review a cube as soon as it's released. It's like trying to get it as soon as possible and trying to review it as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think this is a strategy that Cublin Coder did back when he was still growing, and he grew quite fast from it because you get straight onto the YouTube feed. A lot of people are searching for that particular cube, and if you're there with the review straight away, it gives people something to watch, and it gives people a chance to like decide whether or not they want to buy the product.
Yeah. And that moves on nicely to the next video idea, which is actually the complete opposite. And it's reviewing a cube X months or X years after its release. So like, say a GAN 11, like the GAN 11, that was released how many years ago?
I think it's been 2 years now.
2 years. So I could make a video idea would be right now reviewing the GAN 11 2 years later.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good like comparison kind of style of video.
Yeah.
So like, is the Cube still competitive in the current year?
I think especially with like old GAN cubes, a lot of them are still relevant.
Yeah.
Even the old Moyu cubes, like people still use the WRM 2019, and it's been 3 years since that one. So old flagships are still competitive to this day, and it's important to still compare those because those prices just completely drop. So
Yeah.
people still want to buy those cubes.
And in terms of comparisons, another video idea would be to compare old cubes with new cubes, which is kind of like the idea we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Comparing that like GAN 11 with the GAN 13 and seeing how they kind of compare.
I think another interesting point is that I've seen old reviews of cubes saying this is the best cube in the market. And if someone watches that video today, they'll still think it's the best cube on the market, even though the video's outdated.
Yeah.
So comparing it to a new cube just says which one's better, the old cube or the new cube? Which one's better value for money as well?
And I feel like comparisons are like a key part in like deciding what cube you're gonna get. Like you're never gonna buy a cube without wanting to see a comparison with another cube.
Yeah, I think
To have like sense of scale.
I think this applies to like any niche. Like you're never gonna have only one choice. There's loads of choices in the market, and you want to see how they compare with each other, really. Okay, so moving on to Q&A videos. Now, I could rant on and on about Q&A videos. I feel like no one's really innovating in this niche. What do you think?
I actually agree, but at the same time, it's like
Do you need to innovate?
I feel like it's like I feel like people aren't watching Q&A videos because it's the idea of a Q&A. It just seems very generic, and like there's little room to innovate, in my opinion.
I mean, for the first idea number 12, is just asking people to give you questions and then answering those questions on camera. That's the basic bare bones Q&A.
In terms of bare bone Q&As,
Yeah.
I feel like they don't do that well on YouTube
Right.
because they've been like, in terms of cubing YouTube especially, Q&As have been going for like since the start. Like people have been doing Q&As since the start. And an example in terms of like stats would be Cubehead's recent Q&A. Like that didn't do as well as his other videos because people aren't as interested in that kind of like
Wanting to know about someone outside of their channel. Kind of thing.
Q&As are a very strict way to express yourself in your channel and like talk about yourself. Like that can be done in vlogs, which is actually the next segment after we talk about Q&As, which people watch more because they're more interesting, they're more entertaining rather than just sitting at a desk and answering questions.
Yeah. I mean, so here are our Q&A ideas that would hopefully spice it up a bit.
Yeah.
So number 13 in our 100 cubing video ideas is using a spin wheel to decide what questions or topics you answer questions on.
Yeah.
So it might be in themes. So if you segment a spin wheel into things like personal life, cubing, competitions, I don't know, things like that, group all your questions into those sections, spin the wheel, and then decide which topic you answer the question from. It gives a sense of randomness.
Yeah.
Whereas traditional Q&As are very selective. You select the questions and you choose which questions to answer. But putting that in control of something else gives it more intrigue, I think.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And then another thing is combining it with a challenge. So, for example, adding a time constraint. So how many questions can I answer in 1 minute? How many questions can I answer in 5 minutes? It forces you to think and say what's immediately on your mind, as opposed to having time to think of an answer and then saying it. It gives a lot more genuine authenticity. Authenticity. It gives more authenticity to the Q&A because you're saying what's on your mind straight away as opposed to thinking about it.
And it's that sense of like speed and pace that people like in videos as well. Like with Mr. Beast.
Like a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Like I gotta get these questions out as much as possible. And you also answer more questions, I would assume. So it's more interesting.
Although you could say that like with a time constraint, you answer the questions in less detail.
Perhaps.
But I feel like time constraint is a good concept.
Yeah. And then number 15 is adding forfeits.
I like this one.
So basically, you have a choice whether or not to answer the question. The questions can be really personal, but like if you don't answer the question, you have to complete a forfeit. So this is quite popular in like late night talk shows and stuff. I don't think you've seen this, but I've seen them on YouTube, where it's like either you answer the question or you eat or you drink this like disgusting smoothie or something. And it's like it gives you the choice whether or not you want to answer the question, and it also punishes you for not answering like some of the more like the questions are more daring.
Yeah.
So it's more interesting, but it's more for the people who like don't mind answering some of the more personal questions. But those usually tend to be more entertaining to watch. The ones with forfeits or like challenges.
But I feel like with the forfeits, you'll need to have some good questions.
True.
Otherwise, the forfeits, like the person you're Q&Aing with, if you're just Q&Aing by yourself,
they'll
can
just answer
like,
all the questions.
Instead
they
of
won't
just
take
like
the forfeit.
Yeah.
So that's the only downside to that. So if you have a smaller audience, I would probably suggest answering questions in other people's comment sections. Like let's say JPerm is about to do a Q&A. Like a lot of his questions will probably transfer to you. Things like when did you get sponsored? When do you think you're going to hit 10k subs? Things like that. Like going into other people's comments, finding their questions and then answering those. Sort of like that video idea technique that I mentioned.
And then within those comment sections, you'll find a lot of opinion-based comments as well. Like, what do you think of this cube?
Yeah.
Which are also, you can provide your own thoughts to that question as well.
True. And then an extension to that is answering Google's questions. So using Google's autocomplete.
Yeah.
We've seen this quite a lot in like those Wired type videos where it's like
they hold like a big sign and like strip it off dramatically.
Yeah. So let's say you're a more established creator. Let's say you're CubeHead. You type in internet, does it CubeHead? And then see what happens. Like, does CubeHead have a wife? Does CubeHead go to school? Does CubeHead have a pet? Things like that. And then you answer those questions. Or alternatively, let's say you're not a more established creator. Is cubing ... Is cubing dying? Is cubing a sport? Why is cubing so popular? Things like that. And then you just answer those questions. And I feel like that would be quite interesting, but I haven't seen that before. Maybe Cubing Encoded back in the day has done it, but it's been a long while since I've seen one of those kinds of videos. So
that was number 17 on our 100 cubing video ideas. So that means we have, quick maths, 83 more video ideas to go through.
We're going to speed through these.
Yeah, so the next section is vlogs.
So when you search cubing vlog in YouTube, all you get are competition vlogs.
Yeah.
Like literally, if you type in cubing vlog, you scroll through, you won't find a non-comp vlog. And also when people think of cubing vlog, they're like, nah, I can't do cubing vlogs because I don't want to travel anywhere. You know, I don't have the funds to travel, things like that. But you don't need to travel to make a cubing vlog.
So yeah, in terms of the ideas associated with cubing vlogs, let's go from the top, number 18, to traditional. Everyone does this. The cubing comp vlog. What are your thoughts on comp vlogs in general?
I think comp vlogs are very popular on YouTube. Like, everyone does them and they do very well. The only problem is, obviously, A, you have to go to a comp, and B, you have to have some sort of devices capable of documenting that comp.
Yeah.
So I think the next idea of doing stuff at home.
Yeah.
So our next few ideas are ones where you don't really have to go anywhere to make these vlogs, which is quite useful. So number 19, learning a new alg set.
So yeah, CubeHead's done this.
He has.
I feel like he has.
It was his OLL in 1 month.
Yeah. And that was just him talking about his battle plan. How is he going to learn these algs? And then talking through the process and vlogging the process. He didn't go... I think a big thing to note is that he didn't need to go outside in that comp.
Yeah.
Not in that comp. In that vlog. So that just shows that how vlogs can be done within your home.
Yeah. And a vlog is basically just a documentation of from start to finish.
Yeah.
So in his case, the start was, I'm going to learn full OLL in a month, or I'm going to go hit the world record. A lot of his older videos were basically just vlogs.
Yeah.
So as long as you're able to document your process and share your thoughts throughout, It's basically just a vlog.
Yeah. In terms of documenting progress, that actually links nicely onto number 20, which is documenting your cubing progression.
Yeah.
My journey to sub 15 or my journey to sub 20. It doesn't even have to be a milestone. It could be something to do with journey to world record or journey to NR, which is...
I think NR is very doable. In certain countries, the NRs are quite achievable if you put the hours in. So journey to NR, journey to learning full... whatever. That's kind of the Alex set, but...
The NR for Poland.
What is it?
It's Timon, so it's...
it's the world record. I didn't think of that. But yeah, so whatever personal goal you have to explain to the audience why that personal goal is important.
Yeah.
So why is sub 10 really important to you? And then obviously share your progression throughout that journey. The next one, day in the life videos. I like this one.
Yeah.
So it's like a day in the life of a cuber, a day in the life of a professional speed cuber, a day in the life of a cubing student. Like there's so many ideas for this.
Yeah. I feel like those kind of videos are quite clickbait though. In like the way people do them currently.
Yeah.
Like they overspice
their daily life.
Today I'm gonna go outside and have a $200 million meal. Like
yeah.
they don't actually do that.
They eat 5 times a day. They go to the gym, even though they probably never go to the gym in real life. But they're actually quite entertaining. Like watching what you do on a daily basis. When you get up, you go to school or whatever, you come back from school, and then how do you spend your time at home? And I think a lot of people can relate to it as well.
Yeah. Like people watch it and think, yeah, I should do this, or I am already doing this.
Like I think one of the bigger creators should definitely do this. Like a day in the life of a YouTuber. How they go from in the mornings coming up with ideas to finally producing the idea, editing it. I would be quite interested in that. It's basically a behind the scenes video, which is our next idea.
Number 22.
I didn't even know it was the next idea. That was quite nice. But yeah, going behind the scenes in your life, in your cubing life, like what do you do off camera for the YouTubers? I think that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
And then finally, trying a new method.
So this links to like learning a new alg set.
Yeah.
It's the idea of learning something new and documenting your progress of learning something new.
Yeah.
I think this isn't actually on the video ideas list, but it links nicely to try a new method. But have you seen a lot of setup videos? Oh wait, this is actually the next subject.
Wow.
So yeah, number 24, I guess. Cube maintenance is the subject. And it's like
when people have a problem with a cube or they want to improve their cube, this is the category, cube maintenance.
Yeah. So if you want to make a vlog about cube maintenance, you could talk about, like, have you seen building videos?
Those like satisfying Lego click-clacky ones.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. A nice setup video of that. That probably goes into like a segment somewhere that I'm just skipping directly to. But that link, I thought that linked nicely to trying a new method for some reason.
I mean, in terms of cube maintenance, it's things like how to set up a cube.
Yeah.
Like JPerm's done the N by N cubes. I don't think he's made a cube setup tutorial. I don't think there's many square one setup tutorials. I don't think there's many pyramid setup tutorials, etc. Like, I think JPerm covers one aspect of YouTube. We'll go into cubing tutorials in a bit. But in terms of like maintenance, there's a lot of videos that I've searched up that I've been confused about. And a lot of the videos are really dated and old, where a new spin on those would be quite useful.
Yeah. And
then things like setup time lapses. So a setup time lapse is basically what you explained with the satisfying click-clack.
Click-clack.
So it's basically where you show the setting up of a cube, but you really speed it up and only show the essential parts.
Yeah. That's a nice satisfying like background video.
Yeah.
Like even those kind of 10-hour or 1-hour cube with me kind of videos.
Yeah.
Where like a little bit of setup and a little bit of cubing just to put in the background is nice.
Yeah.
Nice and casual.
I'm the kind of person that would probably watch that while setting up a cube. Because when I'm setting up a cube, I have nothing to like listen to. So I usually just put on videos in the background, and that's one of those kinds of videos.
I think that links nicely to when we were talking about ASMR as well.
Yeah, it has good ASMR value. And then number 26, how to assemble and disassemble a cube. This is a super easy video to make. All you require is a cube and a camera. The camera only has to be your phone, basically. So anyone can make a tutorial how you disassemble and assemble a cube. Especially for the bigger cubes, there's different techniques to assemble them.
I didn't know that.
Because like you build up the blocks and then you place the pieces on top of the other pieces. So like there's probably multiple ways to set up, like assemble a cube, for example, based on what order you put the pieces together. And I think this is probably something that no one mentions, but like the Cubicle gets so many emails saying from customers that their cube is broken, that they want it returned, but it's just been popped.
Yeah.
Like a piece has just popped out, but they think the cube's broken. So those kinds of people probably search YouTube and think like how to fix a speed cube or like how to fix a Rubik's cube. And you can probably make a video like that where it's just a simple video explaining in dumbed down terms how to put the cube back together without breaking it.
I don't know about you, but I'm a 2x2 noob when it comes to assembling cubes.
Ooh.
So like I'm always looking for tutorials to assemble a 2x2 because last time it popped, I was just like, I was gone. I did not want to assemble that thing.
Trauma. Yeah, I think assembly and disassembly videos are super essential because people are like always going to search for those.
Yeah.
They're what are referred to as evergreen videos. Okay, so we alluded onto this in the past with JPerm, but these are going to be 11 video ideas that can help you beat JPerm on YouTube.
Whoa.
Bold claim.
Very bold.
So I mentioned this, but everyone thinks JPerm has covered everything in the cubing guides niche. Like the tutorials, people think that, JPerm's already done a video. I'm not going to do a video now because it's already been done. But there's a lot of videos that JPerm and other creators haven't done yet or haven't done to other events.
Yeah.
So an example here is which algs to learn and in which order.
Especially, yeah, I can relate to this. I'm currently trying to get fast at 2x2, which is funny considering I don't know how to assemble a 2x2. But I don't actually know which alg sets I should learn first.
Yeah.
Do I learn CLL? Wait, is it CLL?
CLL, yeah.
Do I learn CLL? Do I learn this? Do I learn that? Like, I don't know which algs to learn. And I feel like making a tutorial on that would be very beneficial.
It would. Because I think JPerm's done it for 3x3. He's explained all the alg sets and which ones are good, which ones are bad. But I haven't seen one for like square one, cube, those kind of stuff. Maybe they're out there. Maybe we're not searching hard enough. But the point is that we're supposed to be able to find them because we're the outsiders.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to
We're
be...
the noobs.
Yeah. It's supposed to be like, if a noob was to start in the event, where would they go first and where would they go next? It's like giving them a roadmap to improve. And that'll also build like loyalty to your channel.
Yeah.
Because if you give them a clear path to follow, they'll watch all your videos in order. It's good for the algorithm and that.
And then number 28 out of 100. So
oh no.
we're going to have to speed through a segment.
Okay.
But number 28 is how to reach sub X in X event.
And I think a lot of events aren't covered for this. Square one, cube, etc.
So like how to get sub 10 in clock or how to get sub 5 in Scube.
I've seen the super fast ones, like how to get sub 2 in 2x2, for example. But there's a lot of
I haven't
like...
seen that.
Oh, you haven't seen that?
No.
But there's... I think it's missing from both ends of the spectrum. Like really pro people are trying to look for ways to get faster, and then the noobs are also trying to like break that barrier.
Yeah.
And then things I wish I knew as a beginner is a quite useful video. So you're no longer a beginner now if you're watching this podcast. So what do you know now that you wish you knew before? And that's a very useful video for beginners. And then another useful video for beginners is buying guides.
Yeah.
What to buy.
So this links to like the comparison review kind of style videos. What cube should you buy in 2022?
Yeah.
What cube should you buy in 2023? That kind of like...
I think it's a different format to the comparison. Comparisons is like, would you prefer to buy A or B? But a buying guide is like, if I had $10, how would I spend that $10?
Yeah.
It's basically like
And
that.
also like kind of talking about comparisons as well. In terms of like what's the best cube at each price point of each event. Like just a big fat guide.
Especially at this time of year. They're going to be really useful.
Oh yeah. Because like Christmas coming up.
Yeah.
Ho ho ho.
And I think pretty much all 2022's cubes are basically released now, the major ones.
Yeah. And that links to like cubing gift ideas, which is obviously going to be a nice idea for this time period.
So Tingman's done a video on this, but I think a lot of other creators could do this, like a gift guide on not just what cubes to buy someone, but like what accessories are useful. Yeah. So Tingman kept it very vague and he said a stack mat timer, but I think a lot of people, if they were given specific product ideas, that would be quite useful. And that can be done every year as well, which is good. Next, tips and tricks to improve at an event. That's very straightforward. Not much explanation required there. Best apps and resources for cubers. That's idea number 33. Again, it's simple things like Twisty Timer, CS Timer, which one's the best.
Yeah.
Straightforward. Best cubing accessories. We hinted on that in the cubing gift guide. So not just cube buying guides, but also accessories buying guides. Like
And,
stack mats, lubes.
Yeah. And then also, I think this is a good one. I like this one. Number 36. What's in my cube bag?
Yeah.
So that's like a vlog style video, but not at the same time. It's also like a guide in what am I traveling with.
Yeah. It's a good way of showing, like, if I had a limited number of cubes I had to carry, which ones would I choose?
Yeah.
And that's quite interesting to watch. It's like the generic mains and goals videos, except this one's more interesting to me. And then finally, how to spend X dollars in cubing. Have you heard of that video before? Like, I've never seen a video of how to spend $20 in cubing.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a really commonly asked question as well. Like, I have $50, what do I buy?
Because people are given money instead of cubes.
And I feel like, and this kind of idea incorporates that kind of cube lube accessories, not just cube. Like I've seen people reply to those kind of questions with just a cube. They don't say lubes, they don't say anything else. They just say get this cube, that's it.
Like, if you think about it, what's better, a GAN 13 with no lube or an RS3M fully set up? Probably the RS3M. I think the GAN 13 without any lube won't be very good. And we've seen
over
that.
time it'd begin decent. And then over time it just like degrade.
But people are always saying like the RS3M is the best cube in the market, but they never include the actual setup of the cube because the RS3M isn't very good without lube. So it's good to show how to spend $20 in cubing. Very useful idea, no one's done that. Let's move on to reaction content. So a reaction video is basically made up of 2 steps. You have to collect the content, then you give your first impressions on the content. So there's something known as decentralization. Are you familiar with that?
No, but it sounds fancy.
It's basically where you give responsibility to someone else to do something.
Oh, okay.
So it could be something like giving them...
You're delegating.
You're delegating, yeah. So you could delegate them the task of collecting the content for you so that all you have to do is just sit down and react. And that's what a lot of people do. Like Cubehead, he asked people to give him the funniest cubing videos and then he reacted to that. So that's what it is. But you have to try and be authentic and interesting and not force your reactions. So there's a lot of different ways you can react to content. So you could use a popular Discord server and go to their like meme section. You could go to your Instagram feed and scroll through and look at all the cubography. You could look at r/cubers. I think Cubing Encoded used r/cubers quite a lot because there's a lot of good content there. TikTok. No one's reacted to cubing TikToks yet in recent times. Especially now that TikTok is banned in India and a lot of the big cubing countries. I think reacting to TikToks would be quite big now. Reacting to YouTube videos and shorts. Reacting to the speed solving forums. That's more for like the cubing theory.
That's more for like those like big discussions that like you know Penguin Zero.
Yeah.
How like he goes through like these like big reams of like law based discussions.
Yeah.
That's kind of like that.
And it's more for the people who are interested in like cubing theory. So like methods, like I don't know, meta versus CFOP. I don't know. Is meta even a method? I don't know. There's that kind of stuff. And then YouTube comment sections. Like YouTube comment sections is featured in like every section so far.
Yeah.
It's like the golden content.
Which people don't go over comments that much.
Yeah, like I've seen people react to videos, but if you react to the comment sections, they're actually a lot funnier.
Which is another thing that Penguin Zero does as well.
Yeah. So that's reaction content. Reaction content is really easy. You just go to a platform, you just react. Like, there's not much you can do there. There's cubing channels dedicated to hardcore cubers, casual cubers, cubers that want to improve, square one, whatever. But there's
Square One just has a separate section.
Yeah. So there's 0 channels right now with a target audience of YouTubers.
Yeah.
Like, there's no channel out there of making YouTuber content. They might do the one-off, like, how to improve at YouTube, but there's no YouTuber channel.
Like, in actual YouTube, there's a lot of that, like, how to improve your channel, like, think media videos on how to improve YouTube, how to do this, how to do that, based on YouTube, but nobody does that in cubing.
Yeah.
Which is why idea 45 out of 100, nearly getting to the halfway mark, is how to grow on X platform as a cuber.
I agree. So, how to grow on Instagram, there's no, like, clear-cut way on how to promote and grow on Instagram. TikTok, no one's done a TikTok guide yet for cubing. YouTube Shorts, no one's done a YouTube Shorts guide yet on cubing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of these generic ones that are like, how to grow your channel. Step 1, be authentic. Step 2, make videos. But there's none of this, like, very specific platform value. And I think if there's a lot of big, like, Instagram creators, they should jump onto that. And then number 46, of course, is cubing video ideas.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. So giving people video ideas like we are now is incredibly valuable.
Yeah, especially for new YouTubers. Who,
That one, like, a first step.
Yeah.
Into
And
the
even
cubing
for
world.
people just stuck for ideas
Yeah,
that can't think of ways to generate ideas.
true. And then how to make money as a YouTuber. We actually have a video coming up on that, a podcast in the future on how to make money as a YouTuber. We don't make money, but we know the way. We know that way.
We know that way.
So we'll go with all the different methods, because a lot of people are relying on ads right now, and ads isn't the way to make money.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And even someone like Cubed, or like a very established cubing creator that is full-time, probably should make a video on it to motivate other people to go full-time as well. And then revealing your YouTube revenue. Like, I've seen a lot of people doing things like, how much does a 1K sub
Yeah.
creator make?
And how much did my top 5 videos make?
Because I think a lot of people have an unrealistic expectation of how much money they could make creating. So having, like, a reference that they can use is quite useful. Breaking down a YouTuber's growth. So I've seen this in other YouTubers, like you've probably heard of Paddy Galloway.
Yeah, I have.
How Mr. Beast got 10 million subscribers in 3 months, for example.
I
But
remember
instead for cubing. So yeah, we're kind of seeing this, but kind of not. But, like, really breaking down how someone got from 0 to 100,000, for example. Like, how did Cubed grow? I want to know that. Like, obviously he's doing something right, and there's a lot of other creators doing something right. It's just about working out what they are doing. That's right. So yeah, YouTuber growth breakdowns. That's number 49. And finally, the halfway mark. YouTuber thumbnail tips. We see this in generic thumbnails, like make thumbnail bright, use some airbrushing, blah, blah, blah. But no one's made a cubing thumbnail guide, which I think would be quite useful, because there's a lot of people saying, what software should I use to make thumbnails?
Yeah.
There's still people asking that kind of question. So making a thumbnail guide is quite useful. A guide on analytics for YouTubers is number 51. So going through what analytics are important, because YouTube Studio gives you so many analytics. So telling people what's important, what's not, that's useful. Share your YouTuber mistakes. So, like, 10 mistakes I made when I started YouTubing is very useful.
And that's like things I wished I knew as a beginner.
Yeah.
With, like, the cubing stuff that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, definitely. Because you don't want other people to make the same mistakes. So it's very useful.
Then at 53, we have different device settings for cubing videos. So, like, GoPro settings, your camera settings, or even your phone settings.
Yeah. Like, a lot of people need this because they're using their devices at they're not using it at the right quality. Because I don't think it defaults at high quality, so it's useful to go through the settings and get them dialed in. Especially for the GoPro, I had to search that up. But it's useful to have, like, a GoPro guide for cubers. That'd be quite good. Cubing YouTube gear buying guide.
Yeah, I think this is important because this is about like people think they need gear to get started.
Yeah.
And they need gear to grow. But I think this kind of video should be going through like what you need to start, if anything, because you don't really need anything. You just need something to record your voice or record what you're doing. And as you progress, what gear you should be thinking of buying to improve your quality.
Because there's all these people saying gear doesn't matter. But it actually does matter, but it's not the most important thing.
Yeah.
So gear still does matter, but it's not the most important aspect of YouTube. But yeah, especially things like tripods and stuff. A lot of people are like balancing them on like boxes and stuff. So that'll probably be like the main investment for cubing.
Remember when we used to do that? We used to balance our camera. We used to get one of those phone holders, and like balance it on like a stack of books. And
we had no tilt control, so we had to like stuff things underneath it to try and slowly change the elevation. And it used to fall over like mid-video as well. That wasn't pleasant.
Yeah.
So yeah. Next is opinion/rant videos. You have a topic and you just say what's on your mind. Like, you could do 10 minutes, you could do 20 minutes, you could do an hour of just talking. I think there was a lot of streamers that did cubing rants. Yeah. I'm not going to name who they were, but they were just saying what's on their mind in terms of like cubing content creation and its current state.
Yeah.
But rant videos can be good as long as you don't veer on the edge of toxicity. But YouTube rants, they're definitely quite useful. I'm the kind of person that puts rants on in the background.
That kind of stuff was done by Cubics.
Cubics, yeah, definitely.
And also the Cubicle sometimes as well. Not the Cubicle necessarily, like but Fill You.
If there's like an obvious problem in the cubing community and you need to point it out because no one else is, then I would definitely go for it.
Yeah.
Because you need like a good opposition.
That links to like Dear X videos.
Yeah, like Dear
like
Ganky,
you're addressing
Dear
something.
Moyu.
Yeah.
Fill You does a lot of those on his personal channel. YouTuber edit breakdowns. This is useful, like where the effects are, what it looks like to regular viewers, but then what's going on in the background.
Yeah.
Like I'd be curious what kind of effects CubeEd is using most often. Little things like that to help editors improve by showing your edits or other people's edits. How to shoot professional cubing photography is the last one in this category. What settings to use if you're using a camera, things like ISO, white balance.
Have you seen those style of content where it's like chest photography and like POV photography where like they have a chest mount?
Yeah.
And they're like showing them taking pictures. That kind of stuff's cool.
I haven't seen that in cubing yet. I was planning on doing that at UKC, but we ran out of time. But maybe for the next comp, POV photography, that would be pretty useful. Okay, so cubing challenge videos. Let's move on. So for this one, we're going to use the challenge of trying to say them as quickly as possible. Let's see how long we take.
How many can we get in 60 seconds?
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. So use a cube for 1 month or 24 hours. Example, I used a GAN cube for 24 hours. I used a smart cube for 24 hours, Rubik's brand for 24 hours, a bad speed cube for 24 hours, etc. Main an event for 1 month. So I main Scube for 1 month. I main Square One for 1 month, etc. Invent a challenge. So 1 push-up is 1 turn, 1 mile is 1 turn, 1 step is 1 turn, etc. Look at trending videos and then put a cubing edition on that. Bean Boozle challenge, cubing edition. Try not to laugh, cubing edition, etc. The trending tab is very useful for this. I did X solves and this happened. I did 1,000 solves and this happened. Seeing the journey across 1,000 solves. Solve a difficult puzzle without any help or tutorials. JPerm does a lot of these. I solved the square one with no help. Oh, I've got the last one now, might as well do it. Cubing but. So do cubing, but with a restriction or a handicap.
Yeah, I've seen that one a lot.
A lot of Minecraft but. Or like insert
Fortnite
game but.
Yeah.
For cubing, it will be like cubing but I can only use one hand. Cubing but I'm blindfolded. So many ideas for that.
And that's the end of the cubing challenges segment.
Cubing challenges, it just requires creativity. We can't really give you ideas. It comes up like randomly.
Using the technique of like that randomness.
Yeah.
Just try like with cubing coded how we did that whole ketchup stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so this next category of YouTube videos, I would say are like shaping the meta of cubing YouTube. they're really booming right now. And that is cubing story videos.
Yeah. Have you seen, I can't remember what that dude's called.
Matthew something.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I think that's what I was talking about. He does like story videos on like past cubing incidents.
Yeah.
Like the danger of one-handed or something.
Like
that kind of stuff.
Competition documentaries are doing really well on YouTube right now. I think Sile the King used to do that kind of content, but now other people are doing it with a less cinematic aspect. So that could be something like a story behind a world record.
Yeah.
Things like the person's background, how they got up to it. Like the 2x2 single world record just got broken as this podcast was released.
Then you get like a single, but like a DNF average.
Yeah. But like I've never heard of that guy before. So it'd be interesting to see a video on his background.
He obviously prepared and like was near the top. So it would be interesting to see like how he got to the top.
What I haven't seen actually is like Yu Shengdu's background before the world record.
Yeah.
People think he was just like spawned into the
cubing
world and just like suddenly got a record, or that he was lucky. He definitely wasn't lucky. He put a lot of work into that.
Achievement get world record.
Yeah. So I haven't actually seen those kinds of videos, but who broke the record, their preparation, their background, the obstacles they faced on that journey. That's a very interesting narrative.
And then also like the stories behind big cubing events.
Yeah.
So like Worlds, Euros, that kind of stuff.
Like, for example, UKC was the first comp in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Since Timon and Max were both in the same comp. And seeing like a story video on that and see like how they traded wins and stuff like that would be quite interesting. But yeah, that goes for Nationals, Euros, Worlds, whatever comp is near you. A story video is quite interesting. The progression of a Cuba, that kind of goes into the background behind Cuba there. YouCuber milestone testimonial montages. So this is basically
testimonial.
It's a long-winded way of saying congratulations YouTuber on 100k subs, and then sharing the journey of them getting to 100k subs.
Yeah.
Sort of like, you know how Cuban Encoder did that big documentary at the end of his grind?
No, I didn't see that.
You didn't see that?
No.
It's like how cubing changed my life or something.
Or if it was named something like that, I probably saw it but didn't watch it.
Right. But yeah, it showed his like journey to 100k. So those kinds of videos are quite popular. When JPerm hit 1 million, a lot of people made like the JPerm million congratulations.
And then at number 69 out of 100, we have cubing life experiences. So cube rhythms.
Yeah.
How he does those like how I got my cube stolen.
Life stories.
Yeah, which work really well with animation.
True.
Because it's nice visual like perspective of what's happening.
All you have to do is find something really relatable that happened to you and then just share the story and people will relate to it.
Yeah.
So like, let's say you got your cube lost at a comp. Let's say you won a cubing comp for the first time and you want to share that story. You met a new friend at a competition. You got your cube broken. Things like that. Like little things that happen to everyone.
Yeah.
And that was cubing story videos. Next category, cubing podcasts.
Interesting.
So this is what we're doing right now. We're aiming for 100 podcasts in 100 weeks.
Yeah.
That's going to be big if we can hit.
We had a bit of a blip here because we were ill.
Yeah.
But I think we can still get it out this week and hopefully continue our journey. And hopefully you can join us on our journey as well and hit the sub button and follow us everywhere.
People think cubing podcasts are just about interviews and that they need to contact JPerm, they need to contact CubeHead in order to make a podcast. All you need really is a way to chat to someone and a topic. And that topic could be anything. So 70 is interviews, although 71, cubing hardware.
Yeah.
Hardware is being released every single month, every single week. Talking about the new cubes is definitely very good.
And just cubing news in general, which is actually number 72.
Which is like records and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, records, new cubes.
Subscriber milestones.
And if you don't know how to get that kind of news, it's everywhere. Like r/new cubes. You see the manufacturers posting about new cubes all the time. And just that kind of stuff, talking about it in a podcast.
Yeah.
To keep people updated is good.
Definitely. And then podcast clips. This is quite useful. So no one's doing this at all. We're the only people doing this.
Sure.
Where for video podcasts, clipping the podcast into clips.
Yeah.
into bite-sized chunks and then dragging people into the main length podcast if they enjoy it.
Yeah.
No one's doing that. There's hundreds of podcast ideas. We're going to save that for a different episode.
Whoa.
There's lots of episode plugs here, but we're definitely going to do an episode on cubing podcasts once we get to like at least 10 episodes, I'd say.
Yeah.
Cubing entertainment and skits. So how do you, if you had to do YouTube
Yeah.
and you saw Cube for Speed really killing it in the skit and entertainment market,
Yeah.
how would you beat him?
Okay. Is this my area of expertise now?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, have you ever heard of literal POV content?
Literal POV content.
Yeah. So you strap something to your head and you're walking around literal POV.
Right. Because what I've seen is POV content in like Cube for Speed videos.
Yeah.
Where it's not POV, it's just like a joke or like a mini skit.
Yeah. But we recently did a POV video of POV You Judge Max Park, which is actually on our Cubing Shorts channel.
Yeah.
Cubing Quick Shorts. You can check that out maybe after the podcast. But yeah, that was like literal POV, and that I feel like that kind of content is good, and it takes POV content to the next level.
It is.
Especially in cubing comp scenarios, because people don't really go to comps, and the people who don't go to comps can watch those kind of videos and be like immersed in the POV.
Exactly. Like a lot of cubers are quite shy as well. They don't want to go up to the big YouTubers. So you doing a POV where you meet that YouTuber it's quite authentic in my opinion. No one's doing it.
Yeah. And then in terms of general entertainment, we have cubing music videos. So
Right.
I don't know if you've heard of TNL Cubing.
Yeah, definitely heard of TNL Cubing.
Yeah, he does a lot of cubing music video, kind of like skits of Christmas, TNL versus Tingman, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And also, Cubehead's going to do a music video.
He said if he hit a 500k, which he has,
yeah, so
he should do a music video.
Apparently, he should be doing that.
Music videos get a lot of repeat views, especially if they're good. So yeah, music videos are usually quite popular in cubing, especially, as you said, around a certain topic. I think DG Cubes did one quite a while ago.
I don't know who that is.
So that is cubing music videos. What about montages? Funny montages?
Like compilations?
Compilations, yeah.
Of like funny clips in cubing.
Exactly.
Yeah, in terms of that, I'm not sure about that actually. Because it's like, how many funny clips can you get and compile into a montage for cubing?
Someone's done like a cubing pop compilation. It's less funny, but it's more like entertainment. Things like that, like cubing pops, cubing fails, like someone failing a world record, corner twists.
With that kind of funny montage, it's like even Cubehead struggled to find
funny content
to react to. Like you could tell it wasn't that funny.
Yeah, like
in his reaction video, like
you can't really force a laugh in those kinds of clips.
Like cubing content in general. I think funny content can be found by like cubing interactions, which people don't do as much in which they should do in cubing comps and like record it and that kind of funny.
Everyone's focused on the solves and not the actual like people interaction.
Yeah.
Number 77, make and try a cubing quiz. So this is something that not many people are doing.
Yeah.
Where they should try and make a trivia test, maybe the impossible cubing quiz with the hardest questions in the world, and then get other people to try out.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty good. I think that was an idea we had, but we saved it for when like exams period comes up.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to be our like exam.
We have a couple of video ideas on that, actually, on quizzes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And then tier lists as well.
Tier lists are very popular. Like Cube Store tier list, Cube tier list.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the tier list videos now are quite outdated. They're from like 2020, 2021. Yeah. So having an updated tier list of like the best 2022 cubes, things like that, That's
good. A nice way to like implement tier list into your content.
True.
Because that kind of like 3x3 guide or cubing guide can be done with a tier list.
True. Like Cubehead did a video, $1,000 of cubes, but you can only choose one.
Yeah, and he was tier listing all of them and then chose one at the end.
Yeah.
So that was good. Synced.
Okay, do you want to go over this one?
Yeah, sure. So moving on to cubing collaborations.
Collaborations.
So, joining with another YouTuber to make content that both of you can benefit from. So number 79, the typical cubing battle.
Yeah.
And number 80, the typical cubing rivalry.
So cubing battle is short term, and then cubing rivalry is long term.
Yeah.
So cubing battle is something very simple. It's just you challenging someone else to a cubing race.
Yeah.
Maybe with a forfeit.
Yeah.
Sort of like, do you remember JF Cubing's spicy chili challenge? You race someone to a cubing battle, and the person who lost had to eat a spicy pepper or something.
It's like, hey.
Yeah, and then cubing rivalry is this kind of like TNL versus Tingman kind of.
Yeah.
They don't hate each other in real life.
We actually had, like, in cubing content,
Yeah.
there was a period of time where people were doing these kind of like battles,
Yeah.
like Cubehead versus TNL,
Yeah.
TNL versus Cubehead. Like, everyone was like on the hype train of like, I want to see these YouTubers battle each other in this big rivalry, and that kind of died down. So I actually kind of like that.
I think it was because of the pandemic that it shot up quite a bit.
The
Because
pandemic.
people are at home, and there were like a lot of cubing competitions at home, and so people were like, I'm going to battle this person. But they still do very well, especially if, you know, they've got a different audience to you. You can combine audiences, you know. Next is critiquing another person's solves. So critique videos is a good way to collab. Let's say JZ Cubing made an average of 5 video.
Yeah.
You would then react to that, give him a response, and then JZ Cubing would respond to that response.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of video is quite useful. A collab review.
That kind of links to like the cubing battle. Like people kind of like interlink those two.
Yeah.
And have a review on the same cube.
Yeah.
Maybe different cube, mainly same cube. And they both battle on that same cube.
At the end.
At the end, yeah. And that's kind of like the challenge aspect as well as like the informational aspect. And that's a good way to add 2 different thoughts into one video.
Or even like, let's say GAN 14 is going to come in 4 different versions.
Yeah.
You arrange with your friends to get 1 version each. And then you try out all the versions and then combine the content in like a we tried every GAN 14 type video. Or even with the RS3Ms, there's quite a lot of RS3Ms now. Trying 1 each. Doesn't have to be too expensive. Number 83 is to learn a new skill and then to see who does it better.
I like that.
So like both of you try to learn full PL
Yeah.
and then see who's faster at the end.
Or more like learning a new event.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, I'm trying to learn square 1 and you're both learning square 1. You're both noobs. I know I said noobs.
Noobs.
You're both noobs. And like, it's a big battle at the end of the noobs.
True.
I think that's cool. That's a nice way to review a product as well.
Yeah.
Because it could be the guy, you're racing the mirror on Mirror Cube and you've never solved a Mirror Cube before. So you get a GAN Mirror Cube and review it in the process.
So next topic is solve videos. How can you make views on YouTube by just doing solves? Solves are probably the most popular niche on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
Especially with shorts nowadays. Everyone's uploading solves.
Yeah. I get you. I think the simple ones, number 84 and number 85, averages and singles, your PBs, record them at home or record them in comp and just publish them to YouTube.
Yeah. And then giving people a reason to care for those solves as well. Like, I broke my PB after 2 years.
Yeah.
Is quite a good video. And then number 86, solve in a strange environment. So you may remember 3 or 4 years ago, Leo did a video where he was doing cube solves in a mall.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
But it sounds funny.
I'm pretty sure that video got over 1 million views.
No.
Him solving in a mall. Like, there's something about cubing in like an interesting background that like people like watching.
Yeah.
Not just in a comp setting, not just at home, but like somewhere else.
Yeah. We touched upon that earlier in the podcast when we were talking about boxings in different environments.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of links to that. And then number 87 is more POV content. POV solves. So either with a head cam or chest cam.
If you're a cuber, chances are you've either got a GoPro or you've got a smartphone, or both.
Yeah.
There's really cheap mounts that you can get for your head or for your chest.
Yeah.
I saw a few people at UKC with that head mount set up for their phone. And all you have to do is then put your phone on top of it, point it downwards, and you give people the sense that they're there as well.
Yeah, it's more like immersive and like I like POV content.
Like
just
when you
because
look
of that.
around, you see exactly what the
Yeah.
competitor sees.
I like that. In terms of solves as well, you can do, you get a new cube and you're doing your first solves on that cube. They can be recorded in a review
Yeah,
and be used as B-roll, or they can be used as a separate video
true.
in itself. It's like Yusheng do, how like he gets these like prototype cubes
And then he does
and then
solve straight away.
he does solves and then posts his solves and everyone's like, yo.
And I think in terms of sponsorships, cubing companies really like immediate effect in terms of promotion. And I think when you receive a product and immediately produce content on it, they kind of like that because then it gives them immediate exposure.
Yeah.
So even if you're waiting on like a really high production video, releasing the solves in the meantime is quite good, I would say. Especially if you're one of the first people to try that cube.
Yeah.
Next is reconstruction videos. Laser Monkey used to do a lot of these, but now that he's not as active, I think not many people are reconstructing.
I'd say loads of people are reconstructing.
They're just not
Like, it's just that world records aren't that frequent. But like, I've already seen like at least one reconstruction video on the 2x2 world record.
Right.
Talking about, I didn't actually watch it, but I saw the thumbnail and I assume it was just talking about the solve, the background of the person.
And the execution.
And like where they did it, when they did it, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Because I assume it was like just a 4-mover solve.
Like, let's say you got a PB and you know the scramble and you know how you did it. It's a very useful video for other people to know how you got that solve. Like,
Yeah.
it's like example solves. Did I even write example solves? I
No, you
didn't.
So that can be an extra.
That could be an extra, exactly. So another one is example solves. So Cuba did this quite recently with his mystery Tornado V3, where he did an average of 12 or a PB, and then he just explained how he did it.
Yeah.
So example solves and reconstructions go hand in hand, really.
Yeah. And then also long sessions. So like 1 hour cube with me. Have you ever seen that?
I have.
We talked about that previously in the podcast. But like a long session, you take breaks when the person takes breaks.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, yeah, it's just something to listen to in the background.
It's like if you don't exercise as much, you don't get out much.
No,
But
I'm
basically, if you were to exercise like rigorously, you'd probably watch someone else exercising with you.
And I
Like,
think,
you know, these exercise training videos
yeah,
when it tells you how many reps to do and whatever.
yeah.
It's like that.
And I think with that, you can clip the best bits out of your sessions as well and make content out of that. So it's nice, like
POV, you get a +2 POV,
Yeah.
you get a DNF.
Yeah.
Really quick content. So that was solve videos. And then our last 10 ideas are just standalone concepts.
it's actually last 9.
Or last 9. They didn't have a place to go, so here they are. Do a cubing live stream.
Yeah.
Straightforward. Channel trailer. So making a video which summarizes what your channel's about.
Yeah.
That's quite useful for people starting out. Giveaways. These tend to be harder to do unless you're sponsored. But doing a giveaway video, an announcement video, is basically
Yeah.
a giveaway video. But maybe you're announcing like a new venture, like a new podcast. Maybe you've got merch out. Maybe you're doing a collab with a YouTuber and you need with a YouTuber and you need some support for that.
And then there's also comp montages and the cinematic content that you can do.
Yeah.
So
No one's
cube
made
trailers, that kind of stuff.
cube trailers. Like if a new GAN 14 was to come out next week,
People should do that. Like I would watch that myself.
exactly like
Have you ever seen those Razer trailers?
Yeah, really
Something
high.
like that. That would be sick. Like the
High
GAN
production.
14, like boom, boom, boom.
the bass. Yeah, I can see what you're getting at. Like, get some really dramatic music and make an actual an actual like cube trailer.
Have you seen MKBHD intros?
Yeah,
Something
exactly
like that would be sick.
Even if it's only 30 seconds long, if it's got like a killer backtrack and like a killer like B-roll to it.
Sire the King did something like that with the
the
GAN
GAN
i3, I think it was. Yeah, that would be sick. Then there's also top 10 videos.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of top 10 videos recently from CubeHeads specifically.
Top 10 speed cubes of all time, top 10 speed cubes of 2022, top 10 3x3s, top 10 4x4s.
Yeah.
Like, there's loads. So I know this video says 100 cubing video ideas, but I think it's got way more than 100,
Yeah.
given like the specific suggestions. Shorts or a TikTok trend. So on TikTok, there's a trend every like 10 minutes. I'm not even lying. Like, if you go on TikTok, there's people doing all sorts. All you have to do is just copy a trend, but put it into a cubing spin.
Yeah.
So let's say the trend is cubing to the beat. I mean, a lot of people don't like that kind of content, but it is content nonetheless. But doing that, but with a different cube. Things like my 5 favorite cubes.
Yeah.
Showing those off. TikTok trends. They come every 5 minutes. They
And
also
now-
go every 5 minutes.
And now for number 100.
Number 100 is shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out to KewbzUK for sponsoring this video. So our next episode is going to be with JF Cubing. So hit subscribe, like the video. Thanks for watching. And that's all from the couch. Peace.
Peace.